Hey everybody, today I'm doing a product of the week video, and today's product of the week is EcoTools makeup brushes. And by the thumbnail you probably saw that I have a bunch of brushes to review, so this is going to be a little bit more lengthy. But if you don't want to watch the review, I will tell you right off that I freaking love EcoTools. I love them. They have definitely surpassed my expectation as far as like drugstore-ish makeup brushes. So I'm going to review kit by kit and tell you my likes and dislikes and all that stuff. I bought all my brushes on drugstore.com, so all my Canadian ladies, if you have been wanting to buy EcoTool brushes but you find that they're a little bit more pricey, then check them out on drugstore.com because they're a little bit cheaper. You have to pay $10 shipping, but you can get other stuff there too, so I thought it was a good deal. Anyways, so I'm going to start off with the eyeshadow brush set. Now, this is a travel size brush set, which, in my opinion, I normally hate travel size brushes because I feel like you can't quite get enough control, but I've been using these brushes for about a week, and I haven't found that the performance is hindered in any way by them being smaller brushes. So I'm going to throw in the picture here of my of the thumbnail just so you can get a better close-up of all the brushes that I'm going to be talking about. Here it goes. So like I said, the first one I'm going to review is the eyeshadow brush set, which is like this, and a little rundown of EcoTools. They're called EcoTools for a reason. They're vegan brushes, so there's no animal hair used, which is thumbs up and awesome. The ferrel, which is the kind of metal part here, is all recycled aluminum, and the handles are bamboo, which is a sustainable resource. So all around great company, great ethics. I really am pleased by that. And they all, well, not all of them, but most of the kits come with like a little brush roll sort of thing or case. This is the only case out of the sets that I purchased that I think is really great and works well for its purpose. The other ones kind of like, I don't really like, and I'll get to that as I go along. But this one I think is perfect. It holds them all in place. It's got a little Velcro, so it keeps them like together. It doesn't, bend the bristles or keep them, you don't have to fiddle around to find them, that sort of thing. So overall, this is one of the brush cases I'm actually going to keep and use because I think it's practical. So first up, I'm going to talk about the brushes. Now I mentioned they are travel size, this set, which I will kind of show you in comparison. This is the e.l.f. Studio C or Studio eyeshadow brush. And this is the size comparison as far as length goes. This one here, since I'm holding it, I'll start with this one. It's called the Blend Brush. Now, probably over in the video sidebar, you'll see lots of other reviews on EcoTools. And whenever I saw a review about this brush, people would say, like, it's called a blend brush, but doesn't blend. And I have to agree. I don't use this as a blend brush, but some people did mention it's good for highlight, which I agree, but I use this and it has now become my favorite eyeshadow brush because despite its size, like looking at it, you'd think like that's pretty massive for the eyes, but this works perfectly. I use this today, and for the last like week I've been using it as my eyeshadow brush because it picks up a great amount of color and applies it perfectly without like a bunch of fallout. And it's the head is bigger than the e.l.f. one, and it's much more dense. And it does come to a little bit of a point, which I find helps because when you are putting it on your lid, you can feel it kind of going into the crease area. So for my eyelid, it works great. Like it stops, it doesn't go all over the place, and it applies color fantastically. This is definitely one of my favorite brushes out of all the brushes that I got. And like I said, a lot of people have reviewed this brush and kind of left it at like, it's a so-so brush, you can do your highlight, but that's it. And I disagree. I think this is one of the more versatile brushes because you can use it for your highlight if you want, and you can use it for lid color. If you're in a pinch, you can use it to blend, but it's a little weird to blend with because it's a little bit big on the side. So yeah, overall, love this brush though. So that's the first one down. The next one is their crease brush. and it's an angled crease brush, and it is much more dense, I think, than the MAC 275, which is the angle chisel brush or something. I can't remember, but it is quite dense. The head's quite thick, and it works fine for applying crease color, but I find that you get so many other brushes that can do the same thing. This is kind of a mute brush. So it works for its purpose, but I don't usually reach it. So even though it works well, I don't, it's not the one that I normally would grab for putting stuff in the crease. The other thing is you can use this to blend. If you put it on its side like this, you can use it in a sweeping motion to blend. So that's another thing you can use it for if you like. The next brush is the highlight. Now this is like a dome shaped brush. It's kind of like if the 222 and the 224 had a baby, and baby it is. It is good for adding color into the crease, good for blending. This is also good, which is in part being that it is synthetic. It's also good for cream products, so if you want to go under the eye with like concealer, I find it works fine for that as well. I do think this is a great blending brush. So you can add color, you can blend it out, bring it in, do the sweeping motion. It says it's for highlight, and you can use it as a highlight too, but I don't typically use dome-shaped brushes like this for highlight. So again, I'm using it kind of more for a different purpose than what it's labeled, and I noticed I do that a lot with these brushes. So just keep that in mind. There is another blender brush in one of the other sets that I prefer, but I will get to that later. However, if you just got this eyeshadow brush kit, this is fine for putting color in the crease and blending. The next one is their shade brush. I don't know if you can see that. It says shade. This is a really, really small brush. And if I compare it to the e.l.f. brush again, like, this thing is baby. When they say shade, I don't know what they really mean for that. If they mean eyeshadow shade, they're crazy, because this would take you a long time to put like a whole lid color on. It is good for putting a little shade here, though there's another brush that I prefer that for again in this set. This, you know what I really like this for, is getting, sometimes I like to do a sharp highlight under the brow, and you can even do like a little bit over the top if you like to conceal the top of your brows just to make them stand out more. This I find provides a perfect amount of color when you're doing a really close highlight, and some people don't bother doing that. Some people just do like a really blended highlight, and that's cool too. But when I do that, I use this brush because I feel like it works really, really well for that purpose. You can also use it for a smudger brush if you wanted to. You can blend out like eyeliner if you want, but I don't usually use it for that because there's another brush, which is this one here, and this is called the smudge brush. And this one is one of my favorites, again, out of all the brushes. The reason being is, you know, when I was using the 217, which is a pencil brush, there's lots of pencil brushes out there. Here's another one. This is just a no name. You can see this is like a baby pencil brush. A brush this size I find is good for smudging or putting in crease color for like a cut the crease look, or just adding that outer V. But you know, I find it very hard to go underneath the eye, and in the inner corner sometimes you get too much highlight. So this has proven to be a lot more versatile than just a smudge brush. If you want a really nice defined cut the crease look, this will put color perfectly where you want the sharp line to be. You can smudge along the lash line. I find this is just the perfect size for my lower lash line, perfect size. And also you can get a really nice inner corner. So this is again one of my more favorite brushes because I think you can use it for a lot more purposes. So out of the eyeshadow brush set, I would probably say these three are the most used, though I don't dislike the other two in the kit. So overall, I really, really, really do like the eyeshadow brush kit. And as far as them being travel size, I do find that actually having them shorter, it provides me with more precision when I'm doing certain things. So I really don't have I don't really have anything bad to say about these brushes. They're okay. So the next brush set I'm going to review is the mineral brush set, and you get 4 brushes with this, and then a little brush case. I really don't think this is very thought out. It's a snap brush case, but it's not long enough or tall enough to fit your brushes in this way, so you have to kind of shove them on an angle, and I don't really like that. Although synthetic brushes seem to be more resilient than natural haired brushes, it still just seems not very practical, because if you have any sort of residue in your brushes, it's going to get the bag all dirty. Granted, you could probably throw this in the washer and be fine, but still, I mean, I'd probably use this for something else, throw some change in there or whatever, but I'm not going to use it for the brushes because I just don't think it's very practical. Okay, so the first thing I'll notice about the mineral line is that the brush bristles are two-toned, and I do notice a slight difference in the texture. Like, the other brushes are extremely soft, extremely gentle, but I do find that these ones are a tad bit softer. And I don't know if that's because they're designed for mineral makeup and they're like thinner or something, and to help pick up the product. But either way, I really do like the quality of these brushes. I mean, I like the quality of all of them really, but I like the look of the two-tone version as well. But this is the Kabuki brush, and I'll compare it to my e.l.f. Kabuki brush. This is the face one, so it's not the body one. And you can see that there's a pretty big size difference. So this one, it's not extremely dense. It's more light and fluffy. I don't really think this would work well for buffing in foundation, though I do think it'd be okay for putting on mineral blush or, sweeping the fallout for under your eye. In a pinch, of course, you could use it, but I mean, I don't know. I find it sort of a so-so brush, but good for particular purposes, especially like wiping the fallout under the eye. So that's the Kabuki. The next brush, which I've seen reviewed lots of times, and every time I see a review, I'm sure someone else must think the same way. I notice that a lot of people will say like it's meant for a complexion brush, but it's thin and it can't buff in and whatever. But this is one of my favorite brushes from EcoTools, because I find that this, because it's synthetic, you can use cream products. I've been using my cheek stain. I'll put a few dots on my cheeks and then I'll blend it with this brush, then use my blush, and because it's thinner like this, and it's got it's just a little bit thinner than something like, like a Kabuki. Let's say it's not round, it's more flat. You can throw a perfect amount of highlight on your upper cheekbones. You can even do, like if you want a sharp contour, you can even do contouring right between the hollows very well with this. So I think this is a pretty versatile brush that maybe doesn't get enough credit. So again, one of my favorite brushes. I'm using it mostly for blush, so I do really like that one. The next brush you get in here is a concealer brush, which is meant for mineral concealer, but you can use it for liquid concealer, of course, and that's what I've been using it for. Concealer brushes are generally, basic shape, that sort of thing. There's nothing too special I can say about this. Yeah, so I mean, it's fine. The size of the head is like a good size, I think, for a concealer brush, and I don't really have any problems with it. Normally, I will use, like a blender brush to give a more soft effect for liquid concealer, or I'll use my fingers. So this one I don't really use that often. You could use it for an eyeshadow brush if this was the only EcoTools kit you had, but it's good, but I mean, it's kind of just one of those, everyone has one brush. So yeah. The next brush is my favorite brush. My favorite brush, with the exception of maybe one other brush here. This is the best blender brush I have ever used in my life. And I'll just compare it to the first highlight brush that I was mentioning, that's more like a dome-shaped brush. You can see that the mineral one is larger. It's got a bigger, head. And I love this because it seems to pick up the perfect amount of color and blend to this. It just is so perfect for blending. I can't even tell you how much this brush is, like, changed my life. I wish they sold this brush on its own, EcoTools, because I would buy like 5 or 6 of them. I just feel like it fills its purpose and more. It really is the best blender brush I've ever used, and you know, I don't know what else I can say about it except that. So I really, really love that brush. Okay, so that is it for the mineral makeup kit. Okay, so the next brush set is kind of the face, or I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the 6-piece original set, which comes with like the lash and brow comb and the eyeshadow brush and everything. These are more like the full-size brushes. Now, there does come with this a concealer brush, but because I had this concealer brush and I don't typically use concealer brushes, I worked really hard to get the head off to use the handle for a different brush that its handle was broken. So I'm not going to include that in this review, but just trust me, it's pretty much the same as this, a tad bit bigger, but it's a concealer brush. So these ones are kind of the more important ones to talk about, in my opinion. You get an angle brush. Now, I've used this a couple times, and it's kind of dirty right now. This is your typical angle brush. It is, there's not really too much I can say about it. It works fine for my brows. That's what I tend to use it for, but you can use it for eyeliner if you want as well. But it's really just your basic angled liner brush. So yeah, the other thing in here is a lash and brow comb, and it's, you know, there's not much you can say about this. I mean, it is what it is. So this kit, I'm just gonna tell you because I'm gonna run through it really quickly, is kind of like the 2 brushes that I think would be worth buying in this kit out of all the ones that you get will be the blush brush and the eyeshadow brush. Now, I don't know if you can buy the eyeshadow brush alone, but I do know you can buy the blush brush alone. So kind of everything else is like, you know, it's good to have an angled brush and a lash and brow comb, but I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say go seek out and get the EcoTools one, because those are usually synthetic anyway. So in this kit, the eyeshadow brush is a great eyeshadow brush. It's flat. It's a little bit more elongated than like a 239, and it's a little bit more flat, I would say. Here's the e.l.f. Studio eyeshadow brush beside this one again. So you can see there's quite a difference in the style of the shape of the bristles. This is extremely, extremely soft of an eyeshadow brush though. And it's great for putting on color. I use this more for like, you know, if I'm doing something with cream eyeshadow, or if I'm foiling something, because I really like this this blend brush from the other eyeshadow kit. So I'm just telling you what I use these for, but it is meant to be an eyeshadow brush. It works fine as an eyeshadow brush. You can even like do underbrow highlight with this. So yeah, that's all I can really say. It is a good brush. Like, there's nothing really bad to say about it. If you want to pick up a lot of color, you know, it's going to pick up most of the color near the top, because that's where the bristles are kind of layered. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, it's a good brush. Next is the blush brush. Now, if you guys remember, I think it was from March favorites, I talked about my e.l.f. Studio blush brush, and you can tell the size is quite different, but the shape is somewhat similar. The EcoTools is much more dense than the e.l.f. version, but I said that I really loved using this for my liquid foundation. Well, I love this for using my liquid foundation, and I find that I get my foundation routine done very, very quickly. Granted, I love the foundation that I use. I mean, it might depend on what kind of foundation you use. Otherwise, this is meant for blush, and it works good for blush as well. Though I find that I like this more for blush and this more for liquid foundation. And what I do is I just take a little of my hand, dab it in, and then just go and buff as I'm working it in. So that's what I use it for, and I think it works excellently because it doesn't leave streak marks. I think it even works a little bit better than my e.l.f. one. So I found a new foundation brush that I really love. So that is it for the kits. Now I'm going to move on to 2 individual brushes. I know this video is getting a little lengthy, but the first one I want to talk about is the Retractable Kabuki. Now, the aluminum, again, this is recycled aluminum, so it's going to be a little bit thinner. You don't want to sit on this or anything, like it's not the strongest metal out there, but you know, it's still durable enough to throw in your bag and not worry about it. Just don't, you know, be too careless with it because you could dent the metal and you could scratch it as well. But for its purpose, it's really, really a nice little size. You know, it's not too big. If I compare it to that complexion brush from the mineral set, it's just a little bit shorter. So a good size for like a Kabuki brush, gives you a good handle. And this, again, I would use for my liquid foundation, except I don't want it to get too dirty deeper inside because it is retractable. But this is great for, you know, minerals on the go, or just like a loose powder or pressed powder. This is good. Like, there's no reason not to have this brush, basically. It's very, very dense. And I find that it's really good for buffing things, but it's super, super, super soft. So this is definitely one to have if you're on the go a lot or carry around like a compact. This is a great thing to have. So I don't really know what else to say about this except that it really is great. This is the only, I had another retractable Kabuki, but it was like a natural bristle, and this is by far softer. So yeah, and I just love the, you know, the click and unclick of this thing. So yeah, so that's the second to last brush. And then the last brush is probably one of my all-time favorite EcoTool brushes. I know it's loved by many people, which is the EcoTools bronzing brush. I don't use this as a bronzer, but I will tell you what I do use it for. Primer, liquid foundation, blush, powder, mineral makeup, cream makeup. I mean, I use this thing for everything. And it is like a Kabuki, like a really, it'd be like you had this, like the e.l.f. Kabuki squished tight and then stuck it in here. Except this is actually a little bit softer. I mean, it is a dense brush, and you can really get a lot, like you can cover a lot of areas of your face. I really don't use this for bronzing because I feel like it's too big, unless I was doing like an all over, just making myself look a little bit more tan. But this literally, like, I've tried it with so many different products because I was so impressed. Like the first time I tried it, I was like, I wonder if this will work with my foundation. It works with my foundation. I wonder if this will work with my primer. Can I use my primer and then my foundation? The nice thing about this brush is you can put a cream product on it, work it into the skin, and it'll come off the bristles, and then you can go on to a dry product without wrecking that dry product. So I have like extreme love for this thing. Like extreme love. I really haven't come across any high-end brand Kabuki brush or another brush like this that is so versatile and so soft and, you know, so just lovely. So in my top picks out of all the kit that I have, or out of all the sets, these are the most used, though I do use a lot of the other brushes, and I'm telling you, overall I love them. If I would say to skip any kit, it would be the basic kit that comes with the blush brush and the concealer brush and the eyeshadow brush, because if you buy like the blush brush on its own for foundation, do that, or go for the mineral set and the eyeshadow set. Those two will have you set, really. And then of course buy the big bronzer brush. So here are my favorites. Blush brush for foundation, gives you a flawless complexion, doesn't leave streaks, it's easy to buff, easy to blend. And once you've applied the foundation, you could go straight and apply a powder with this, or go to blush and have no problem. Obviously, because I just had a little rant about how much I love this, the bronzer brush is one that I absolutely will not live without. And I know these brushes will last me a long time because they're built to last, but this is one that I would repurchase again and again and again, and probably would put one in my makeup kit because it's just so great, and you know, I just love it. So obviously that's in my picks. The next one is the Mineral Complexion-y brush, whatever this is, because you can use cream, all of these products, you can cream, powder, whatever, liquid, but because I found this works best for my cheeks, it's the perfect size to throw on a highlight, to use for stain, to use for cream blush, and of course powder blush, and great for contouring. So this is definitely in the top pick brushes. Next one is the Mini Baby Pencil Brush, because this gives you great detail and great control for cutting the crease, inner corners, smudging. I've even used it on the lid for a thicker eyeliner. It works well. Really just a great detail brush. Next is the Blend Brush, because this works good as a highlight, it works good as a lid color, but I'm in love with it for lid color because it just picks up excellent, just the perfect amount of eyeshadow. And then the last but not least brush would be the little eyeshadow blender brush from the Mineral Makeup Kit, because really I just haven't found a brush to beat this. So thanks for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. I know it was lengthy, but yeah, love you guys. Bye.